biggest lie ever told is that we're just human. Just smart enough to do the jobs required of us, and ignorant enough to not question the inner workings of our own reality.
To spend our lives in a mode of consumption, conditioned to believe that our main purpose is to be born and to die. But a lot can change just by simply shifting your perspective. We are not just humans having a human experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. The vehicle in which you currently reside, your human body, is simply just a garment. It is your personal avatar that you get to use to experience this place we call Earth. You see, in our true form, our true energetic form, all we know is love. We don't get to experience the magnificence of pain and sorrow and the growth that comes from those emotions. Earth is merely a school for the soul, a playground designed for learning, growing, and evolving spiritually. And most people truly have no idea how close we are to the divine. At least until one is initiated. A caterpillar will spend its entire life preparing for the most magnificent transformation, only to experience the freedom that comes with being a butterfly for merely 14 days. It is likely that the caterpillar is not aware of its future transformation. It simply acts instinctively, moving towards growth and evolution. And in order to reach this stage of transformation, we must consider the challenges a caterpillar must face. The sheer determination that is needed simply just to evade predators is a feat in itself. Now, this transformation from a caterpillar to a butterfly is very symbolic to the same transformation that every human must make. Many do not realize that they are on this path of transformation. And many are so caught up in the kaleidoscope of distractions that they may never understand this in this lifetime. Spiritual initiation is a sort of rite of passage. And this rite of passage represents an understanding of oneself that goes beyond just the human condition. This particular transformation is directly tied to the metaphysical laws that govern our true being. This transformation may also take many lives to achieve. There is no telling how many lives you have already lived and how many more you must live in order to meet the requirements to become spiritually initiated. Spiritual initiation refers to a moment in an individual's life where they not only realize their human condition and form, but they also have now integrated their spiritual and metaphysical true self into their reality. In rare occasions, this experience can occur spontaneously through traumatic experiences that we have through our lives. But more often than not, most people experience this transformation after years of study. There is absolutely a divine intelligence at work. And this intelligence has requirements that must be met before a person can graduate into this understanding. Upon initiation, the realization occurs that we are living in an illusion, one that is meant to keep you distracted, but once realized, puts you in a position to not only recognize the illusion, but to reject it. And this process requires each individual to go through a series of revelations throughout their life in order to have the realizations necessary to achieve this freedom. Now, there is no particular order in which these revelations need to occur, but there is seemingly an organic pattern that most people follow before they reach the step of initiation. 1. Healing past wounds. This is probably the most difficult and challenging step of this process. We have all experienced a variety of trauma throughout our lives, of which we manage and process differently. Oftentimes, without even realizing it, we channel our childhood trauma into our relationships, friendships, and interactions with other people. This usually occurs when we are failing to be self-aware. We use our past trauma internally as justification to behave in ways that are not acceptable. One must first begin to recognize when their trauma is acting through their behavior and to not allow that trauma to still play a role in your life. 2. Dissolving the ego. The phrase, "I am," is the most powerful phrase in the universe because you are what you say you are. But sometimes you're not what you say you are. The ego is designed to give you a false sense of identity. When you meet someone new, how do you describe yourself? Do you say, "I am a musician. I am an artist. I am a scholar"? When we describe ourselves in this way, we inadvertently paint ourselves into a box. We get so attached to these labels that often our internal creativity is lost. We forget that we're way more than these things. The best advice I can give is to realize that you are none of those things. In order to break free from this false identity, it's important to describe yourself in ways without claiming to be anything. Instead of saying, "I'm a musician," say, "I play music." Instead of saying, "I'm an artist," say, "I like to paint." The idea is to break down the false identity to get to the true you, which is none of the things that you currently say to describe yourself. Another perspective would be to view this as if you are a visitor here. You are learning a trade, but you are a master of nothing. 3. Commit to living by an objective moral standard. We have made a vital mistake in believing that morality is subjective. It's important to note that yes, currently morality is subjective, but that's only because we have lost our way. But this is not how it's supposed to be. Every single worldly problem could be solved if everyone lived by the same moral standard. And that is, do not harm any other sentient being, mentally, emotionally, or physically, unless in self-defense. This is also known as God's law, or what Jesus called the non-aggression principle. But in order for the universe to recognize this change in you, your moral standard must be reflected not only outside of you, but also in the way that you think. Instead of judging, find compassion in your heart for others. It is so utterly important that you always stand in your truth, even in the face of adversity. One's thoughts and emotions must always be in alignment with one's actions. This means always speaking your truth. There is absolutely no reason why you cannot justify the way that you feel about anything. If it is your truth, it should be spoken, even if it might potentially hurt the feelings of someone else. It is always a better option to be honest than to deceive anyone. This process that I'm describing is ancient, and it dates back to the times of true alchemy, the times of turning lead to gold. Each time you pass through one of these phases in your life, you will know. This is a process of purification, similar to water evaporating in the reverse osmosis process. With each awakening that you have, you will experience the universe and God in a way that cannot be explained. And you will always return to your original state, where more lessons are to be learned. But despite the challenge and the unimaginable commitment, it is worth doing. Know thyself, and you will be free. May the truth come to light, and may the truth set you free.